Welcome to this month's Friends You Keep. As they say, we are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. And at Erin Wellness, we believe that sustainable health and wellness is accumulation of our 5 pillars. And these are the thoughts you think, the friends you keep, that's here today, nutrition, movement, and lastly, supplementation. So each month we feature a guest doing exceptional things that hopefully will inspire you to step into who you are destined to be. And today we have Tara Clark. Welcome, Tara. Thank you so much for being here with me today. So I'm going to read your bio and then we can get to some nitty-gritty questions. So Tara Clark is a social media architect, entrepreneur, and speaker, and founder of the boutique social media agency Social Tea. Throughout her 15-year career in marketing, Tara has seen the positive impacts passion and purpose can have on those around her. She brings creative marketing ideas to the table and believes social media can be both simple and meaningful, which I know a lot of people struggle with that. So this will be a good one today. Along her small but mighty team of experts at Social Tea, Tara designs clear, organic social media strategies tailored to each company's unique business and goals and lays out how to execute exciting ideas with actionable steps. Social Tea also provides customized hands-on training sessions so her clients can become their own social media mastermind. Welcome, Tara.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. Thank you. And congratulations on being a semifinalist with the forum.
Thank you. I know, I'm excited. I've got the pitch ready. I did the whole write-up and now I'm working on my PowerPoint. So yeah, did you pitch as well? Were you part
No, I'm part of the gala committee for 4 years
nice.
now. And I've been a part of that community since 2009, before that Young Women in Business. And so I've really followed the journey and I did e-series back in the day. And yeah, I've just been a active part in helping with the gala on the committee side. And I get to, learn about you semifinalists and be a champion for the event. And I know that they do a really great job putting it on. So I saw your name obviously in the mix, and I look forward to seeing your presentation.
Exciting. Actually, I was going to say I believe it was the e-series that you and I actually got to sit and talk. We had
I think that was it. Yeah.
15-minute little roundtables we had to talk about social media way back when I first started. So here we are now. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey and how it's taken you to where you are today?
Yeah, I went to school in the States and long story short, graduated in 2008. And I knew I had loans to pay and no jobs that were available where I was. So I sold everything I had and I moved to Vancouver, where my mini family had moved from, originally we were from Calgary. So now my family was in Vancouver. And I had a place to live with cheap rent. And so I thought, okay, this was a good place to get started. 1, my focus was loans. And 2, I was like, I want to do something in marketing. I knew that was a passion of mine. But then reality hit and I realized, getting a job isn't that easy when you have no experience. So I was lucky to get a couple really interesting jobs in different industries that allowed me to learn more about marketing as well as admin and other elements. But one of those jobs that I got was a great opportunity, but I sucked at it. And I sucked at it so much that I actually was let go from that job. And it was so hard. It was really, really crippling to a lot of things. And it was really difficult, but that was the best thing that ever happened to me because I learned a few things about my job. And that was number 1, I had 10 things I needed to do on a monthly basis because it was marketing overall for a company. But the one thing I liked to do the best was social media. And this is back in 2010-ish, when not a lot of companies had really figured out how to use social media yet. So it was quite innovative that my boss at the time wanted me to learn that. And so I actually became a tastemaker on Twitter and really started to dive into the social media platforms that were available for her business. And I got to know a lot of different communities. And it was interesting because I kept wanting to do that in my job. And the other parts I really wasn't that great at because I wasn't curious about them. I wasn't trying to get better at them. And I kept finding myself navigating towards this thing that I could, felt like I wanted to do more of. So long story short, when I was let go from that opportunity, it was really, really hard. But a couple of weeks after, when I got my big girl pants on and I thought this is a lesson, and knowing that I really was always an entrepreneur, knowing that I needed to make something for myself and deliver value to people in the way that was best built from me first to them, I put an ad on Craigslist for a digital marketing specialist. And 1 hour later, I got my first client. And he was a financial services professional wanting to master LinkedIn because his competitors were on there and he wanted to beat them to it, or be better than them. And from that one contact, I still have random connections through to this day. And from that moment forward, from that first call with him, I got that client, and I've never stopped being a small shop, but delivering value to big companies, small companies. And coincidentally, tying that all in, now I really find that in my business, Social Tea, we are known for social media strategy and training. And now I find we're really, really becoming experts in the LinkedIn space to help business owners and their teams navigate LinkedIn for business development, marketing, and more professional amplification than other platforms can really offer. So that's how I got to where I am today. Is I knew I was an entrepreneur. I needed to be let free of something to really dive into it and create something. And that's how Social Tea came to be, and why I'm still actively doing what I'm doing, even with a baby at home. I love what I do enough that I'm okay to take away time from him to be here and be present, because I have aligned with opportunities that are just what I want to do. And in turn, people get the best out of me. So it's great.
Love that. And so when the next question I kind of have is that pivotal moment, but it sounds like that pivotal moment could have been when you got let go, really, right? So
It was when I got let go. And then I thought, rather than this be something that, I can't get out of, I thought, how do I see this as freedom? And I think entrepreneurs, we like freedom. And so when I noticed that I had the freedom to design what I do and write it out and put it on Craigslist, which was a big thing then. And when I had the freedom to say what I do for people and how I can help them and really navigate what I don't do, that's empowering. And that made me more interested and continues to keep me interested in what I've been doing for so long.
Yeah, no, that would make, yeah. And I think just having I find for myself, it's just such a passion thing for me. I wake up every morning, I feel so blessed to get to do what I do. And I feel so blessed that I know what I'm supposed to be doing. It's such a wonderful, wonderful feeling when you just feel really driven to get up and jump. And I mean, obviously social media is not going anywhere. And I think there's a lot of businesses that really struggle with how to create a strong presence on social media. And what advice do you have for some of them? Like what do you tell a company when they're, saying to you, I just can't seem to do it. It's hard.
So there's three questions that I ask them. Number one, have you Googled your name or your business lately? Because a lot of people don't actually Google their name or business. They just look at their social. They go on their Instagram and they look at their Instagram, but they don't take time to actually see how they're appearing when other people might be looking for what they do. So the first thing I do is say, do some research on yourself and see what appears for you, because you might be surprised about where your name lands amongst other things on Google, for example, or if you even show up on LinkedIn search if you're looking for yourself. So phase one is just take a look at how you might appear to how you hope people are looking for you by name, by business name to start. That's number one. Number two is start with your goals. What do you want to be using social media for? Some people have uncovered that social media overall is too big and they can't be on all the social media platforms. And they're more of a writer than maybe they are a speaker on video. So then if they're more of a writer, maybe LinkedIn is their place to be with a newsletter and they type longer posts on LinkedIn. Versus if there's someone that's really strong on video and can create a lot of content, then obviously would lean towards Instagram and TikTok. But you can't do them all. So I always say, start with your goal. Is your goal to nurture an international community? Then TikTok is your place. Is your goal to generate specific leads within an industry and location? Then LinkedIn might be a focus for you. Do you want to get in front of media outlets? Well, then Twitter is really where they're living. So it all starts with, what is the end goal, marketing and business wise, that you want to reach? And then you should work with someone to help guide you on how you get there, even if you're managing at the end to do the end result production, right? Yeah. So I always say you need to get to the goal. You need to start with your goal and then work backwards with someone who can guide you efficiently and effectively on where you should be, what you should share, and how you can manage it in the best way. So that's number two. And then number three is also thinking about how you appear, not just on social media, but also your website. So we always think, oh, our social media is really strong. But if your website doesn't land with people, then that's a whole, and your brand, that's a whole other complexity that you need to think about. So when you find the right marketing strategist or guide in that way, they will help you figure out what's priority, what's secondary, and really what you need to focus on to meet a goal. But if you don't have the end goal in mind for the quarter or the day even, it's going to be unfruitful for you and you're going to be disappointed.
Yeah. No, that makes so much sense. I love that. I'm gonna Google myself after I get off.
Yeah, right.
I found some interesting stats too. I mean, like 93% of marketers worldwide use social media business, which, I mean, holy crap, talk about a difference in like 10 years, right? Even when you started, like just, I mean, leaps and bounds. 75% of people use social media to research a brand. So although the website stuff is obviously very important, because then once they land on your page, they're going to end up going to your website if they want to buy something. So if you don't have a website that's conveying your message, that's really true too, what you just said.
Consistency is the takeaway, I think, on that one. Yeah.
And then, like, I thought this was fascinating too. I got all these little stats, but 4.59 billion people use social media every day. Like, that's just staggering, right? And so I'm in natural health and more wellness. And so sometimes you find these little health food stores and they just don't have any social media presence or website at all. And that was something I really talked to several of them when COVID kind of hit, and we'd have these Zoom calls. And they'd be in their stores, but nobody was allowed in their stores. I'm like, oh my gosh, like now is the time. Get yourself online, get your social media up and going. Like now is the perfect time. And some of them still chose not to do it, which will be interesting to kind of see in the next 10 years, because it's the whole pivoting idea, right? Of constantly changing and moving with it. And it is moving so rapidly, sometimes it can feel really overwhelming. But I think it's something that's not going away, and people definitely need to find somebody. If they don't know how to do it, then that's obviously where Social Tea comes into place, where they can really guide them, right?
And I should share too, like if you have a service-based business, there's not as much to say. It's harder to extend your content. But if you have a product like yours, where you have multiple SKUs and you have all of these ingredients in each one, there's like 100 posts in each bottle. If you work with, if either you're the expert, that, but there is so much content that you have there to deliver value to, especially a store with all of these different items in it too, right? So I think it's not having a limited idea of, oh, we're just a store, why would it be useful? Or, oh, my product is really great, but not talking about all the layers of it. So find out what's unique about your product, not find out, but uncover and enlighten people about what's unique in your product, and try to find like all of the avenues of content you can talk about and just map it out really big picture. And that would help. Like sometimes just like using the right creative team or outlet or even a pen and paper and jotting it down and finding out all the different layers of pieces that you can pull out. And then it makes content creation harder. And why I bring that up is because Instagram is awesome, but you need a lot of content. So it starts again with that goal and that plan about where you want to show up, who you want to speak to, and really getting clear on the value added messages for them.
Well, and somebody who's just starting, let's say you have a retailer or, anybody who's just starting social media content. I mean, you kind of gave some really good tips there, right? If you're good on video, if you'd rather write, would those be the things you would use to decide how they're going to embark on their social media content and which one to choose properly? So then you do that. And then from there, you would then do what you do best, I guess.
Exactly. And it's also dependent on department, right? So a sales team might really want to dive into LinkedIn because they want to make relationships with the stores, right? Versus at the same company, the marketing team might need to get in front of consumers. So they would leverage Instagram. So it's really about talking to someone and describing if you're a one-woman show or if you have some people on your team, and navigating it actually becomes kind of an individualistic approach, because your people are your best asset in social media, and they are the best amplifiers because people listen to people, not necessarily brands all the time. So that is something else to navigate as well. As an organization, the primary voice will be our brand, or will be our leader, or maybe it will be different departments. So there's also ways to consider even how you present the message too, and if it's a we or a me message. So there's a lot of beautiful pieces that can come out of someone that's curious about your business and can guide you on what's the best fit based on where you want to go.
That's awesome. And so what do you think is there one feature on one of the apps that you would think is the most underutilized, that people aren't taking advantage of?
Well, I love that you can add music now to Instagram feed posts. I think that's a really good way to have a branded sound. So I really enjoy that. For some of our clients, we picked a few sounds for our clients to consider, and then they picked the ones that they felt were the most on brand for them. That's really, really great that you can give people this kind of aura around your brand and your product, right? So maybe there's an energy. Well, I know you have probably some, I've seen them. What's the energy vitamin you have?
Lose it.
Exactly. So that might be one where the tone around it is very like, uplifting, but the one that's for sleep would be a whole other vibe. And
Yeah.
that's a really cool way to brand your products now using Instagram. So I like that for building in another layer of the senses. I think that's where social media can be surprisingly different in that way. You can't smell yet or taste, but that's a really cool way to add a layer of
Count
interest.
them out.
Yeah, right. And then on LinkedIn, which I'm just really enjoying right now with a lot of my clients, there's a page called services. And so a lot of people don't know, but you can have on your personal profile a services page. So a services page would be like for a sales team member or for a CEO, they could have a page that is about their specialty in a certain avenue. So for me, it's not actually my social media services. I actually have it for public speaking because I want to continue to do that. So I have a services page that has my speaking reel and has all the information about speaking engagements that I've done, so that I actually wanted it to be a sub page of my LinkedIn profile and give people this value and information that they might not have known was there. So that's something to check out as well if you're looking to add more elements to your LinkedIn presence.
Like that. I need to work more on my LinkedIn now that I'm having this conversation with you.
So good, and it's free, and it's better than Facebook. You spend a lot, and there's just a lot of I'm really into Instagram and LinkedIn at the current because Instagram is still regionally focused.
Yeah.
I love TikTok, but you can get people following you from all over the world, which again is great for reach. But if you're a business doing something very geographically specific, it's not going to benefit you as much.
No, that's very true. And it's hard to manage it all. It really a challenge, like, because I'm the face of the brand as well. So finding time, I found and maybe this is a suggestion you give to people as well, is I have a set time where I have to, like, on Sundays, I have to literally dedicate an hour because I have to change shirts. It has to be a thing. I have to, through the week, I have to be on social saving different reels that I like so I can kind of hammer them all out at once. Because if you don't really set the time aside for it, you're not going to get it done. It rolls into the next week, right? And
Absolutely. And that's why there are social media strategists and educators like me, and there's content creators. And
yeah.
that's why content creators are so valuable, either if it's yourself or someone you use to partner with you, is they execute on that vision, right? But I create the design for what the content can be. But then there's still all this time that needs to come together to make it presentable and represent what you want to represent out there. So social media is a very big use of time if you want to commit to it. And that's why, again, like if you're a brand on Instagram creating a bunch of reels, but your target market and really your end of the day goal isn't there, then that's something you need to reconsider, because that's a big chunk of time you can be leveraging potentially for something else. And that's why you can really, to me, only master one or two profiles. Because if you really want to go all in, you have to be able to create the content that represents you on that platform well.
Yeah. No, you're totally right. And so in your bio, you talk about passion and purpose. And so what's passion, like how do you how do you believe passion and purpose has driven you to where you are today now?
It's interesting because a year ago, it was different because I wasn't a mom yet. But then when I became a mom, I just became even more clear about my time. And when Social Tea started, our whole mission and vision was to take social media off of businesses' plates and their teams' plates. And so that really resonated with people because they saw how exhausting it can be to do social media. And so we really delivered on that. But over time, as a team of moms, coincidentally, we all looked at that thing we were doing, which is social media management, and we all thought, we're also now not doing this to our fullest potential because social media has gotten so big that to do it well, you have to either charge a lot or be overly consumed on social. So why I bring this up is because we actually switched gears collectively. When I became a mom, I could finally talk to the other moms and kind of relate in a different way. And we saw that social media management wasn't where we were going to be able to be consistent and have passion in. So we switched to strategy and training. High impact, what's your plan? What are your goals? How do we design a plan to get there? And then the training part is we want you to be super on top of how to efficiently and effectively do your social media yourself. So we have totally changed the script, and we're still trying to help people uncover that is where we're going. It's still new, I think, for people getting used to that from us. But why I bring that up is because now I'm more passionate, because I love guiding, I love educating, and I love empowering people. But I make things simple, and I make things very, very possible to execute on their own in a good amount of time. So it's not complicated, it's concise. So there are a lot of ways that we try to really help people to do it on their own, while not leaving them hanging. So that's part of the education piece. So that's how passion and purpose to me has changed, is the ability, again, to have the freedom to choose what we offer at Social Tea. And then now I'm so fueled by what specifically we do. And it makes me feel like my purpose every day is just to empower people to do social media better through my teaching.
Yeah.
Right.
Awesome. I love that. And so I'm obviously been a part of the forum. You've had mentors in your life. I have great mentors in my life. The friends you keep, that's really about it too. What's the best advice a mentor has ever given you or has given you? Do you have one piece?
Oh gosh, I get a lot of good lessons. Oh, I actually learned something really good, actually from a business coach who I consider a mentor, but it's called the triangle of hierarchy, if I'm saying that correctly. And basically she was sharing with me that until the bottom of your triangle is fulfilled, it's hard to achieve anything else you want to achieve in business or in personal life. And so what I realized was that sometimes I'm very conflicted about mom, business, family, travel, all the things I want to do. And so by seeing the triangle, I now focus on what's the baseline, keep Tara happy and healthy.
Yeah.
And then I can move to the other layers of success. So that visual for me, the triangle, the base is the root, it holds it all together. And then knowing what falls into my main elements, that has really helped me and guided me in a lot of my decision making recently, just to make sure that I'm staying focused on what keeps me going. And then everything else needs to align with it, but it's not nearly as important as when someone I love and trust needs me the most.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And well, I mean, aside from so you have an incredible career, and you're a mom, a new mom too, and a partner. And so how do you find time? I mean, I get this question a lot too, but to balance, if that is even a word that exists, but how do you find time to kind of balance it all? Is it basically kind of what you're just talking about, making sure that Tara is good and then building on that, or how does that work for you?
So my first job when I got to Vancouver from the States was admin assistant. And that was, to me, the best first job to have, because it wasn't clerical, it was operations. And I had to run a lot of things and be very organized. So even though I'm a fast-paced, high-energy person, I'm incredibly organized and I don't miss much. Like, I'll be honest, like if something happens, I will like let people know why, like, because it's not often, like we have a 45-page process document just for our teeny little team, but why that's important to me, that baseline of the administrative focus, is because it has really helped me to guide my systems. And so how I try to carve out time between mom, family, life is just using a really good scheduling tool for my time. So if someone wants to have a meeting, I send them my calendar and they book through Calendly. And just simple things like that. People are now very used to Calendly. I think even 2 years ago, people were kind of offended because they wanted like this back and forth email chain. They almost like this dialogue of scheduling, but I just like to make it efficient. Here's my schedule. Please pick a time. I'm actually saving you time by cutting out all this stuff. So now it's a natural. I've noticed a lot of people have started using it, which is so great. So just by being specific about my availability and not being apologetic about it, and being like, when you book me for this time, I am on. I am 200%. Like that is what I'm giving you. But when I'm not available, that's me also saying to myself, that's when I can not have any screen or anything around my family and my boy and be super content. And so that has been really good, just setting out my schedule and being really, really concrete about it. And everyone will be able to find a time. Like there's enough in there,
So true. And where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I see more international reach and I'm very aware of the environmental impact of travel. And so although I want to travel, I always try to keep that in mind. Um, but I also know that for me to be creative and show up and be curious, I need to explore. And so I'm trying to find the balance of the most, interesting way of still meeting new people and seeing how other, you know, areas of the world work while still being mindful of how I get there, if that makes sense. So I'm conflicted a little bit about that. But in 5 years' time, I really hope to have more of an international reach, be it living abroad with my family and creating a really amazing, sustainable business, and trying something new while still using my marketing abilities, but maybe using it in more of a product-based business or something like that. So I actually see myself, maintaining what I do, but helping, I don't know, something else. Yeah.
Global social tea domination.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, everybody, I think, can use help with social media. So be it even personally or professionally, but especially businesses too, who are really struggling. So I think having what you're doing and having these systems in place and giving them the tools to be responsible for themselves as well, because then they, like, once you know how to do it, then it's like, okay, now I know the plan, what I'm going to do now. It's up to me to execute it. Right. So I think it's a fantastic.
Yeah, and it's this opportunity for one to many, like your product. You want to have you delivering it to many people. I want to be able to guide people one to many as well. And luckily, Zoom and online has helped me do that. Like I've been trying to share with people that we could do this and be great client relationships for a long time, and now they see it because of COVID. So in that way, that really helped. A lot of the barriers people thought they had about digital and needing to have a lot of in-person element. So yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. And it, to me, is just it's an explore. It's the word explore stands out for me in the next 5 years.
All right. So a couple personal questions. What is one thing you would tell your 20-year-old self?
I love this question because it was so clear to me. Stop worrying. I worried every minute of every day until I was probably 25 about what people thought, and like about classes. I still have dreams. I didn't graduate university, like all of these things. So worry. I wish I would have known to talk to someone about my worry. I think even, 15 or so years ago when I went to school, that wasn't something that people talked about as much. So I think that one really stood out for me. Worry can be really debilitating in your progress if you let it take over.
And how have you now tabled the worry? Have you just learned to just...
I think I just shifted my self-confidence. I think a lot of it came from lack of confidence in what I was doing and just being in a new place and not having family around or comfort support. And so now when I look back at it, I can see all the elements that set it up to be worrisome. But now I just think I have a better support network around me that allows me to think less about the little things and really, really focus on what matters, which is other things that really, slap you in the face when they need to.
Exactly. And so what inspires you?
Again, I think the opportunity to travel and meet new people and connect. And this inspires me, the chance to chat with another woman in business and just see how we've, looped in from many years back through a great community that I admire. So what inspires me is the opportunity to be curious, meet new people, and connect.
And lastly, what are you most proudest of in life?
Education wise, I'm the only person in my family to ever go to university and graduate, and I put myself through it. So like, I'm really proud of that badge of honor that I was able to do that. And like, that is something I'm just like, so like I said, I still have nightmares. It didn't happen because I just feel really lucky to have done that. And then of course, just my family, it's so, even my dog is my first baby, and it's just the most, they make me get up every day and feel accountable. So I'm really, really proud of them.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. All right. Well, I want you to plug your company. So anybody who is listening to this, who can get a hold of you, who is curious to work with you, I know that I want to have a conversation with you off of this so I can really look at what we can do together too. So how can people get in touch with you and Social Tea? Where do they go?
Yeah, we can be found at socialty.biz, B-I-Z, and we provide social media strategy and training for businesses, teams, business owners. So basically, if you are not sure where your social media should be going, or you're just getting started with social media and you need a plan, that's what we help you with. We set goals, we set benchmarks, and we give you the exact guide that you need to build out your content, build out your strategy, and really get the most out of the social media platforms you need to be on. And then we also provide social media education through training virtually and some in person if possible. And we really guide your team on how to execute on the plan that we've designed for you.
Love that. Love that. Well, thank you, Tara, for staying with
Thank
me
you.
today, having this chat. And thank you, everybody who has listened. Stay tuned next month for more Friends You Keep. And on that note, have a fantastic day and go out and, be the best you can possibly be. That's the really whole point of all of this, is to surround yourself with people doing exceptional things to motivate yourself to be exceptional yourself. So thanks so much, everybody. Have a great day.